During the 1950s and early 1960s, Ferrari stood as the ultimate symbol of Italian speed, elegance, and engineering supremacy. Every car that left Maranello wasn't just a machine, it was an expression of passion and control, a creation born from the mind of a man who demanded perfection at any cost. Enzo Ferrari. To Enzo, racing wasn't a sport, it was war. It was a battlefield where only those willing to bleed for victory truly deserved to wear the prancing horse on their chest. Ferrari's reputation was built on power, and power meant one thing: the V12 engine. For Enzo, a Ferrari without a V12 was like a body without a soul. He didn't see it as a set of cylinders and valves, but as the beating heart of the brand. The sound of a Ferrari V12 was more than noise. It was a symphony of fury, pride, and Italian craftsmanship. Each note, each revolution, carried the legacy of a man who refused to compromise. But behind the glamorous victories, trophies, and champagne celebrations, something darker was growing inside Maranello. Enzo's empire was built not only on vision, but also on control. Absolute, suffocating control. He ruled his factory like a kingdom, and anyone who dared question his authority was quickly reminded that there was room for only one Ferrari inside Ferrari. Engineers, mechanics, even his drivers, they all lived under his shadow. The pressure was unbearable, and resentment was inevitable. By 1961, those tensions finally reached a breaking point. A group of Enzo's most brilliant minds began to turn against him. These were not ordinary employees. They were the men who had helped Ferrari conquer the world. Carlo Chitti, Giotto Bizzarini, and several other key engineers. They believed that Enzo's obsession with tradition, especially his unwavering faith in the V12, was holding the company back. The world was evolving. Lighter, more efficient cars were emerging. But Ferrari remained chained to Enzo's philosophy of raw power over innovation. Inside the factory, conflict became routine. Enzo's wife Laura had also become heavily involved in management, and her fiery temper only made things worse. The arguments, the politics, the shouting matches, they turned the factory floor into a battleground. The breaking point came when a group of senior staff openly challenged the leadership. Enzo, feeling betrayed, responded with fury and fired several of them on the spot. The rest walked out. That mass exodus would go down in history as the Great Walkout of 1961. But the story didn't end there. Out of rebellion came reinvention. Those who left Ferrari decided to build something new, a car that would defeat their former master on the track. They created ATS, Automobili Turismo e Sport, a new company with a single mission: to take on Ferrari in Formula One using the same sacred weapon Enzo loved so much, a V12 engine. To Enzo, it was a direct insult. His disciples had stolen his religion and turned it against him. When the ATS Formula One car was unveiled, the press couldn't get enough. It was sleek, bold, and loud. Everything a Ferrari was supposed to be. But behind Enzo's calm public demeanor, rage was boiling. He saw their creation as theft, an act of betrayal that cut to the core of who he was. He ordered his remaining engineers to fight back with new, more powerful V12. The racetrack became a proxy war for wounded pride. Every lap, every engine scream, was Enzo Ferrari defending his name against the people who had once helped him build it. The Italian media loved it. They called it the V12 War. On one side stood the old master, clinging to his traditions and ego. On the other, the rebels, young, ambitious engineers determined to prove that innovation could outshine loyalty. In the end, ATS would fail to achieve the glory they dreamed of. The team collapsed under financial pressure and poor results. But even in defeat, they had changed Ferrari forever. They had shown the world that Enzo was human, brilliant but flawed, and that his obsession with control came with a cost. And then came the second betrayal, one that would hurt even more. Watching all of this from a distance was a man named Ferruccio Lamborghini, a successful industrialist who had built a fortune manufacturing tractors. Lamborghini was a passionate car enthusiast, and like many wealthy Italians of his time, he drove Ferraris. But as much as he admired them, he was constantly frustrated by their mechanical issues, and by Enzo's arrogance when it came to customer complaints. One day, Ferruccio decided to confront Enzo personally. He told him the truth, that his cars were fast but flawed, powerful but unreliable. Enzo didn't take criticism well. According to legend, he sneered and said, "You are just a tractor manufacturer. What do you know about building sports cars?" That single sentence was enough to ignite another war. Not on the racetrack this time, but in the showroom. Ferruccio Lamborghini swore he would build a car so good that it would make Enzo eat his words. To make that happen, he needed an engine worthy of revenge. And so he hired none other than Giotto Bizzarini, the same engineer who had once designed Ferrari's legendary 250 GTO and later walked out during the 1961 rebellion. Bizzarini was eager for payback too. Together, they built an entirely new V12, refined, smooth, yet brutally powerful. In 1964, Lamborghini unveiled the 350 GT and later the Miura, cars that would define a new era of Italian engineering. Unlike Ferrari's aggressive and track-focused machines, Lamborghini's creations were grand tours, elegant, comfortable, yet capable of monstrous performance. For the first time, Ferrari had a rival worthy of its legend. And the irony was cruel. That rival existed because Enzo had insulted the wrong man. From that point on, Ferrari and Lamborghini became two sides of the same coin. Fire and ice, pride and rebellion, both fueled by 12 cylinders of mechanical passion. Their rivalry elevated the supercar from a machine to a cultural symbol. Ferrari represented racing heritage, precision, and legacy. Lamborghini embodied defiance, innovation, and audacity. Together, they pushed Italian engineering to its absolute limit. But this war wasn't just about engines or trophies. It was about identity. For Enzo Ferrari, every victory was proof that his philosophy was right. For his rivals, every success was revenge served in gasoline and noise. Decades later, that tension still lives on. Even as the automotive world moves toward hybrid and electric technology, the V12 remains a sacred relic, the beating heart of an era when emotion was louder than logic. Enzo Ferrari's so-called betrayal, his inability to listen, his obsession with the V12, his constant clashes with those around him, ended up shaping an entire generation of innovation. The rebellion of his engineers, the defiance of Lamborghini, and the relentless pursuit of speed all stemmed from one man's pride. And that pride, as destructive as it was, built a legend that refuses to die. Today, when a Ferrari or a Lamborghini roars down the road, that sound isn't just metal and fuel. It's history echoing through time. It's the sound of genius and ego, of friendship turned rivalry, of betrayal turned legacy.